Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Political Avenger. This is your host, PA. It is August 28th, 2024. The time now is 9:02 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope everyone is having a great Wednesday, hump day. Today, we're going to be talking about alleged manual regarding extraterrestrials, recovery, and disposal of recovery craft. This has been circulating the internet for about 2 decades, almost over a decade, let's just say. And no one has been able to confirm that this is a real manual or disprove that this is a real manual. This is supposedly from I believe this manual is from 1954. And it states restricted SOM 101, Majestic-12 Group Special Operations Manual regarding extraterrestrial entities and technology recovery and disposal. The top secret magic eyes only. And then it gives you the, warning. This is top secret, magic eyes only. And then it gets, this is a Majestic Group, April 1954. It gives you a list of, I don't know if these are incidents or what they are because it's blurry, but it has dates. And it says removal and or replacement of said document requires written authorization from operations officers and will be recorded. Records, I think it says records officer for each instance. So supposedly in order for you to get your hands on this, you had to sign it out. And then it has more, I guess, signed out dates. And then it gets into the appendix. It gives you the chapters. Chapter 1 is Operation Majestic-12. Section 1 is Project Purpose and Goals. The introduction, the general, recovery operations, security, technology recovery, receiving and handling upon receipt of material. Chapter 5 is in regards to extraterrestrial biological entities, living organisms, non-living organisms, guide to UFO identification, UFOB guide, identification criteria, possible origins, references, forms, Magic 12 group personnel, photographs. And then it gets into chapter 1, where it talks about project purpose and goals. And we're going to get into that tonight. So section 1 states the scope, and it gets into the manual. This manual has been prepared especially for Majestic-12 units. Its purpose is to present all aspects of Majestic-12, so authorized personnel will have a better understanding of the goals of the group, be able to more expertly deal with unidentified flying objects, extraterrestrial technology, and entities, and increase the efficiency of future operations. Part 2, General. MJ-12 takes the subject of UFOBs and extraterrestrial technology and extraterrestrial biological entities very seriously and considers the entire subject to be a matter of the very highest national security. For that reason, everything relating to the subject has been assigned the very highest security classification. 3 main points will be covered in this section. A. The general aspect of MJ-12 to clear up any misconceptions that anyone may have. B. The importance of the operations. C. The need for absolute secrecy in all phases of operation. Number 3, security and classification. All information relating to MJ-12 has been classified as magic eyes only and carries a security level 2 points, security level 2 points above the top secret. The reason for this has to do with the consequences that may arise not only from the impact upon the public, should the existence of such matters become general knowledge, but also the danger of having such advanced technology as has been recovered by the Air Force fall into the hands of unfriendly foreign powers, and no information is released to the public press. And the official government position is that no special group such as MJ-12 exists. 4. History of the group. Operation Majestic-12 was established by special classified presidential order on September 24th, 1947, at the recommendation of the Secretary of Defense, James V. Forrestal, and Dr. Vannevar Bush, Chairman of the Joint Research and Development Board. Operations are carried out under a top secret research and development. Intelligence group directly responsible only to the President of the United States. The goals of MJ-12 are as follows. A. The recovery for scientific study of all materials and devices of a foreign or extraterrestrial manufacture that may become available. Such material and devices will be recovered by any and all means deemed necessary by the group. B. The recovery for scientific study of all entities and remains of entities not of terrestrial origin, which may become available through independent action by those entities or by misfortune or military action. C. The establishment and administration of special teams to accomplish the above operations. D. The establishment and administration of special secure facilities located at secret locations within the continental borders of the United States for receiving, processing, and analysis and scientific study of any and all material and entities classified as being extraterrestrial in origin by the group or the special teams. E. Establishment and administration of covert operations due to be carried out in concert with the Central Intelligence to affect the recovery of the United States, to affect the recovery for the United States of extraterrestrials, technology, and entities which may come down inside the territory of or fall into the possession of foreign powers. F. The establishment and maintenance of absolute top secret or secrecy concerning all of the above operations. Section 5. The current situation. It is considered, as far as the current situation is concerned, that there are few indications that these objects and their builders pose a direct threat to the security of the United States, despite the uncertainty as to their ultimate motives in coming here. Certainly, the technology possessed by these beings far surpasses anything known to modern science, yet their presence here seems to be benign, and they seem to be avoiding contact with our species, at least for the present. Several dead entities have been recovered along with a substantial amount of wreckage and devices from downed craft, all of which are now under study at various locations. No attempt has been made by the extraterrestrial entities either to contact authorities or to recover their dead counterparts, or the downed craft, even though one of the crashes was the result of direct military action. The greatest threat at this time arises from the acquisition and study of such advanced technology by foreign powers unfriendly to the United States. It is for this reason that the recovery and study of this type of material by the United States has been given such a high priority. Chapter 2, the introduction and the general. Number 6, scope. Uh, A, this operation manual is published for the information and guidance of all concerned. It contains information on determination, documentation, collection, and disposition of debris, devices, craft, and occupants of such craft as defined as extraterrestrial technology or extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, in section 2 of this chapter. B, appendix. Appendix 1IA contain a list of current references, including technical manuals and other available publications applicable to these operations. Appendix 2 contains a list of personnel who comprise the Majestic-12. 7. Forms and records. Forms used for reporting operations are listed at the appendix or in the Appendix 1. Section 2, definition and data. B, general. Extraterrestrial technology is defined as follows: aircraft identified as not manufactured in the United States or any terrestrial foreign power, including experimental military or civilian aircraft. Aircraft in this category are generally known as unidentified flying objects or UFOBs. Such aircraft may appear as one of several shapes and configurations and exhibit extraordinary flight characteristics. Objects and devices of unknown origin or function manufactured by, can read that section, or of materials that do not consist with current technology or scientific knowledge. C, wreckage of any aircraft thought to be extraterrestrial manufacture in origin. Such wreckage may be the result of accidents or military action. D, materials that exhibit unusual or extraordinary characters not like with current technology or scientific knowledge. Extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, are described as A, creatures, humanoid, or otherwise, whose evolutionary processes, can't read that part, for the development in, can't read that part, different from, I guess, the human species. It's getting blurry here. Okay, here we go. 9, description of the craft. Documented extraterrestrial craft, UFOBs, are classified in 1 or 4 categories based on general shape as follows. A, elliptical or disc shape. This type of craft is of a metallic construction and dull aluminum in color. They have the appearance of 2 pie pans or shallow dishes pressed together and may have a raised dome on the top or bottom. No seams or joints are visible on the surface, giving the impression of one-piece construction. Discs are estimated from 50, let me repeat this again. Discs are estimated from 50 to 300 feet in diameter, and the thickness is approximately 15% of the diameter, not including the dome, which is 30% of the disc diameter and extends another 4 to 6 feet above the main body of the disc. The dome may or may not include windows or ports, and ports are present around the lower rim of the disc in some instances. Most disc-shaped craft are equipped with lights on the top and bottom, and also around the rim. These lights are not visible when the craft is at rest or not functioning. There are generally no visible antenna or projections. Landing gear consists of three extendable legs ending in circular landing pads. When fully extended, these landing gear supports the main body 2 to 3 feet above the surface at the lowest point. A rectangle hatch is located along the equator or on the lower surface of the disk. B. Fuselage or cigar shape. Documented reports of this type of craft are extremely rare. Air Force radar reports indicate they are approximately 2,000 feet long. Holy crap. Let me repeat that again. Documented reports of this type of craft are extremely rare. Air Force radar reports indicate they are approximately 2,000 feet long and 95 feet thick, and apparently they do not operate in the lower atmosphere. Very little information is available on the performance of these craft, but radar reports have indicated speeds in excess of, I believe it says 7,000 miles per hour. They do not appear to engage in the violent and erratic maneuvers associated with the smaller types. C. Ovoid or circular shape. This type of craft is described as being shaped like an ice cream cone, being rounded at the large end and tapering to a near point or rear point at the other end. They are approximately 30 to 40 feet long, and the thick end diameter is approximately 20% of the length. There is an extremely bright light at the pinned end, and this craft usually travels point down. They can appear to be any shape from round to cylindrical, depending upon the angle of observation. Often sightings of this type of craft are elliptical craft, seen at an inclined angle or edge on. D. Airfoil or triangular shape. This craft is believed to be a new technology due to the rarity and the recency of the observations. Radar indicates an isosis, can't read that part because it's cut off, triangle profile, the longest side being nearly 300 feet in length. Little is known about the performance of these craft due to the rarity of good sightings, but they are believed capable of high speeds and abrupt maneuvers similar to or exceeding the performance attributed to the types A and C. 10. Description of extraterrestrial biological entities, which are called EBEs. Examination of the remains recovered from wreckage of UFOBs indicates that the extraterrestrial biological entities may be classified into two distinct categories as follows. A. EBE type 1. These entities are humanoid and might be mistaken for human beings of the Oriental race if seen from a distance. They are bipedal, usually 5 feet and 5 to 5 feet 4 inches in height and weight from 8 to 100 pounds. Proportionally, they are similar to humans, although the cranium is somewhat larger and more rounded. The skin is pale, chalky yellow in color, thick and slightly pebbled in appearance. The eyes are small, wide-set, almond-shaped, with brownish-black irises, with very large pupils. The whites of the eyes are not like that of humans, but have a pale gray cast. The ears are small and set low on the skull. The nose is thin and long, and the mouth is wider than in humans and nearly lipless. There is no apparent facial hair and very little body hair, that being very fine and confined to the underarm and the groin area. The body is thin and without apparent body fat, but the muscles are well developed. The hands are small with 4 long digits, but no opposable thumb. The outside digit is joint. The outside digit is joined in a manner as to be nearly. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. The hands are small with four digits, but no opposable thumb. The outside digit is joined in a manner as to be nearly opposable, and there is no webbing between the fingers as in humans. The legs are slightly but noticeably bowed, and the feet are somewhat splayed and proportionally large. B. The EBE type 2. These entities are humanoid but differ from type 1 in many respects. They are bipedal. They're usually 3 feet 5 inches or 4 feet 2 inches in height and weigh 25 to 50 pounds. Proportionally, the head is much larger than the humans or type 1 EBs, the cranium being much larger and elongated. The eyes are very large, slanted, and nearly wrap around the side of the skull. They are black with no whites showing. There is no noticeable brow ridge, and the skull has a slight peak that runs over the crown. The nose consists of 2 small slits, which sit high above the slit-like mouth. There are no external ears. The skin is a pale bluish gray color, being somewhat darker on the back of the creature, and is very smooth and fine-celled. There is no hair on either the face or the body, and these creatures do not appear to be mammalian or mammals. The arms are long in proportion to the legs, and the hands have 3 long tapering fingers and a thumb which is nearly as long as the fingers. The second finger is thicker than the others, but not as long as the index finger. The feet are small and narrow, and four toes are joined together with the membrane. It is not definitely known where either type of creature originates, but it seems certain that they did not evolve on Earth. It is further evident, although not certain, that they may have originated on 2 different planets. And then this one is blurry, so you can't see the picture of this part of the book or the manual. And then it continues, section 11, description of extraterrestrial technology. The following information is from preliminary analysis reports of wreckage collected from crash sites of extraterrestrial craft between 1947 and 1953. Excerpts from which are quoted verbatim to provide guidance as to the type and characteristics of the material that might be encountered in future recovery operations. A. Initial analysis of the debris from the crash site seems to indicate that the debris is that of an extraterrestrial craft which exploded from within and came into contact with the ground with great force, completely destroying the craft. The volume of matter indicates that the craft was approximately the size of a medium aircraft, although the weight of the debris indicates that the craft was extremely light for its size. B. The metallurgical analysis of the bulk of the debris recovered indicates that the samples are not composed of any materials currently known to terrestrial science. C. The material tested possesses great strength and resistance to heat in proportion to its weight and size, being stronger by far than any materials used in military or civilian aircraft at present. D. Much of the material having the appearance of aluminum foil or aluminum magnesium sheeting displays none of the characteristics of either metal, resembling instead some kind of unknown plastic-like material. C. Solid structures and substantial beams having a distinct similar in appearance to very dense grain-free wood was very light in weight, and possesses tensile and compression strength not obtainable by any means known to modern industry. F. None of the material tested displayed measurable magnetic characteristics or residual radiation. G. Several samples were engraved or embossed with marks and patterns. These patterns were not readily identifiable, and attempts to decipher their meaning has been largely unsuccessful. H. Examination of several apparent mechanical devices, gears, etc., revealed little or nothing of their functions or methods of manufacture. Chapter 3, Recovery Operations. 12. The security. Press blackout. Great care must be taken to preserve the security of any location where extraterrestrial technology might be retrievable for scientific study. Extreme measures must be taken to protect and preserve any material or craft from discovery, examination, or removal by civilian agencies or individuals of the general public. It is therefore recommended that a total press blackout be initiated whenever possible. If this course of action should not prove feasible, the following cover stories are suggested for release to the press. The officer in charge will act quickly to select the cover story that best fits the situation. It should be remembered when selecting a cover story that official policy regarding UFOBs is that they do not exist. A. Official denial. The most desirable response would be that nothing unusual has occurred. By stating that the government has no knowledge of the event, further investigation by the public press may be forestalled. B. Discredit witnesses. If at all possible, witnesses will be held incommunicado until the extent of their knowledge and involvement can be determined. Witnesses will be discouraged from talking about what they have seen, and intimidation may be necessary to ensure their cooperation. If witnesses have already contacted the press, it will be necessary to discredit their stories. This can best be done by the assertion that they have either misinterpreted natural events, are the victims of hysteria or hallucinations, or are the perpetrators of hoaxes. C. Deceptive statements. It may become necessary to issue false statements to preserve the security of the site. Meteors, downed satellites, weather balloons, and military aircraft are all acceptable alternatives, although in the case of the downed military craft statement, care should be exercised not to suggest that the craft might be experimental or secret, as this might arouse more curiosity of both the American and the foreign press. Statements issued concerning contamination of the area due to toxic spills from trucks or railroad tankers can also serve to keep unauthorized or undesirable personnel away from the area. 13. Secure the area. The area must be secured as rapidly as possible to keep unauthorized personnel from infiltrating the site. The officer in charge will set up a perimeter and establish a command post inside the perimeter. Personnel allowed. It's a little bit blurry, you can't see it. Personnel allowed, I guess, on the site will be kept to the absolute minimum necessary to prepare the craft or debris for transport, and will consist of military security forces. And then you can't really read maybe local authorities may be pressed into service and traffic and crowd control. Under no circumstances will local officials or law enforcement personnel be allowed inside the perimeter, and all necessary precautions should be taken to ensure that they do not interfere with the operation. Perimeter. It is desirable that sufficient military personnel be utilized to set up a perimeter around the site large enough to keep both unauthorized personnel and the perimeter personnel from seeing the site. Once this has been contained, regular patrols will be set up along the perimeter to assure complete security, and electronic surveillance will be utilized to augment the controls. Perimeter personnel will be equipped with hand communication and automatic weapons with live ammunition. Personnel working at the location will carry sidearms. No unauthorized personnel will be allowed into the secured area. B. Command post. Ideally, the command post should be as close to the site as it is practical to efficiently coordinate operations. As soon as the command post is operational, contact with the Majestic-12 group will be established via secure communications. Area sweep. The site and the surrounding area will be cleared of all unauthorized personnel. Witnesses will be debriefed and detained for examination by MJ-12. Under no circumstances will witnesses be released from custody until the stories have been evaluated by MJ-12 and they have been thoroughly debriefed. Situation evaluation. A preliminary evaluation of the situation will be completed and a preliminary report prepared. The MJ-12 group will then be briefed on the situation at the earliest possible opportunity. MJ-12 group will then make a determination as to whether or not MJ-12 Red Team or OPNACT, OP Operations or OPNAC team will be dispatched to the area. Section 2, Technology and Recovery, Removal and Transport. As soon as communication is established, removal and transport of the material will commence under orders from MJ-12. A. Documentation. If the situation permits, care should be taken to document the area with photographs before anything is moved. The area will be checked for radiation and other toxin agents. If the area cannot be kept secure for an extended period of time, all material must be packed and transported as quickly as possible to the nearest secure military facility. This will be accomplished by covered transport using little traveled roads wherever possible. B. Complete or functional craft. Craft are to be approached with extreme caution if they appear functional, as serious injuries may result from exposure. As serious injuries may result from exposure to radiation and electrical discharges. If the craft is functioning but appears to be abandoned, it may be approached only by special trained MJ-12 Red Team personnel wearing protective clothing. Any device that seems to be functioning should also be left to MJ-12 Red Team disposal. Complete craft and parts of crafts too large to be transported by covered transport will be disassembled. If this can be accomplished easily and quickly, if they must be transported whole or an open flatbed trailers, they will be covered in such a manner as to camouflage their shape. C. Extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, must be removed to a top security facility as quickly as possible. Great care should be taken to prevent possible contamination by alien biological agents. Dead EBEs should be packed in ice at the earliest opportunity to preserve the tissues. Should live EBEs be encountered, they should be taken into custody and removed to a security facility by ambulance. Every effort should be made or should be taken to ensure the EBE's survival. Personnel involved with EBEs, alive or dead, must be kept to an absolute minimum. See Chapter 5 for more detailed information on dealing with EBEs. Cleansing the area. Once all material has been removed from the secured site, the immediate area will be thoroughly inspected to make sure that all traces of extraterrestrial technology have been removed. In the case of the crash, the surrounding area will be thoroughly gone over several times to ensure that nothing has been overlooked. The search area involved may vary according to local conditions at the discretion of the officer in charge. When the officer in charge is satisfied that no other evidence or further evidence of the event remains at the site, it may be evacuated. Special or unusual conditions. The possibility exists that extraterrestrial craft may land or crash in heavily populated areas where security cannot be maintained or where large fragments of the population and the public press may witness these events. Contingency plans by AMJ 1949-04P, 78 top secret, eyes only, should be held in readiness and should the need to make a public disclosure become necessary. And then it gives you descriptions of conditions from the craft, Area 51S4, Blue Lab, OPNAC, Blue Lab, and then the locations where you need to take some of these things. Let me see if I can turn it around to read them. Hold on. Okay, let's see here. So items, extraterrestrial technology and classification, description or condition. Number 1, aircraft. Intact, operational, or semi-intact aircraft of extraterrestrial design and manufacturer. And it gives you the locations to send it to. The code, it gives you the code, the locations it should go to. Intact device, any mechanical or electronic device or machine which appears to be undamaged and functional. Damaged device, and then it gives you again the code and the area to take it to. The power plant, the identified fragments, devices and machines or fragments which are possible propulsion units, fuel and associated control devices and panels. Fragments composed of elements or materials easily recognized as known to current science and technology, i.e. aluminum, magnesium, plastic, etc. Unidentified fragments, fragments composed of elements or materials not known to current science and technology and which exhibit unusual or extraordinary characteristics. Supplies and provisions. Non-mechanical or non-electronic materials of support nature such as clothing, personnel belongings, organic ingestibles, etc. Living entity, the living non-human organisms in apparent good or reasonable health. And then they have non-living entities, deceased non-human organisms or portions of organisms or organic remains and other suspect organic matter. Media, printed matter, electronic recordings, maps, charts, photographs, and film. Weapons, any device or portion of a device thought to be offensive or defensive weaponry. And then it states living entities must be contained in total isolation pending arrival of OPNAC personnel. And then it gives you another form, I guess, extraterrestrial technology packing list. Let me see what it says here. Okay. Number 9, packaging and packing data. Domestic shipment. Individual items are tagged and wrapped in a moisture vapor proof barrier and heat sealed. They are then placed in a congregated fiberboard box. The voids within the box are packed thoroughly to a neutral cellulose weighting or wadding to prevent movement of the items. The box sure is, I guess it says ensure, but probably doesn't say that, is sealed with gummed craft tape. MJ Form 1007 is placed in a, I guess, vanilla envelope marked Magic-12 access only and is firmly blank to the top of the box. The box is then cushioned at each corner and at the top and bottom with fiberboard inserts, and it is placed within a large blank fiberboard box. The entire outer box closure is sealed with gummed craft tape. A label is affixed to the outer box bearing the following information: destination, shipping code number, and the warning: Magic-12 access only. B. Overseas shipment items are packaged as described above, except blank and humidity indicator are included within the inner corrupted fireboard box. Next, the box is wrapped in a moisture vapor-proof carrier and heat sealed. Then packaged items are placed within a second, waterproof carton sealed with waterproof tape. The second carton is marked Magic-12 access only on all sides and is placed within a outer or something grease-proof lined wooden shipping container. The lining is sealed with waterproof tape and the wooden shipping container is screwed shut. Blank shipping container is reinforced further by nailing two 3/4 inch metal wraps about 8 inches from each end. Shipping information is then stenciled to the surface of the wooden shipping container. Note: the packaging and pack procedures detailed above applies to non-organic items only. Data for handling, packaging, packing, and shipping of the organic matter of non-living entities is provided in Chapter 5, Section 2 of this manual. Okay, then it gets Chapter 4, Receiving and Handling. Handling upon receipt of material, the uncrating, the unpacking, and checking. Note: the uncrating, unpacking, and checking procedure for containers marked Magic-12 access only will be carried out by personnel with MJ-12 clearance. Containers marked in this manner will be placed in storage in a top security blank until such time as authorized personnel are available for these procedures. Be very careful when uncrating and unpacking the material. Avoid rusting tools or thrusting tools into the interior of the shipping container. Do not damage blank packaging materials any more than is absolutely necessary to remove blank specimens. These materials may be required for future packaging. Stow blank interior packaging materials within the shipping container. When crating and unpacking the specimens, follow the procedure given in 1 through 11 below. 1. Unpack the specimens in a top security area to prevent access of unauthorized personnel. 2. Cut the metal wires with a suitable cutting tool or twist them with pliers until the straps crystallize and break. 3. Remove the screws from the top of the shipping container with a screwdriver. 4. Cut the tape and seals of the case liner so that the waterproof paper will be damaged as little as possible. 5. Lift out the packaged specimens from the wooden case. 6. Cut the tape which seals the top flaps of the outer cartons and be careful not to damage the cartons. 7. Cut the barrier along the top heat sealed seam and carefully remove the inner carton. 8. Remove the sealed manila envelope from the top of the inner carton. 9. Open the inner carton and remove the fiberboard inserts. Desiccant and humidity indicator. 10. Lift out the heat-sealed packaging containing the specimens. Arrange them in an orderly manner for inspection. 11. Place all packaging material in the shipping container for use in future repacking. Thoroughly check all items against the shipping documents carefully. And then it gives you a copy of how you, package all the materials of the extraterrestrial specimens and items. And then it says, inspect all items for possible damage during shipping or handling. Sort the blank according to classification number in preparation for transfer to the designated laboratory or department. Laboratory or department personnel blank responsible for transporting items to the designated areas. This will be accomplished as quickly as possible by covered transport, escorted by security personnel. And then it says top secret, magic eyes only, reproduction in any form is forbidden by federal law. And then it gets into chapter 5, extraterrestrial biological entities, living organisms. I think I read this one already, but let me go ahead and read it again just in case. 21, scope. This section deals with encounters with living extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, such as encounters that fall under the jurisdiction of MJ-12 and OPNAC BBS-01 and will be dealt with by the special unit only. This section details the responsibilities of persons or units making the initial contact. 22, general. Any encounter with entities known to be extraterrestrial in origin is to be considered to be a matter of national security and therefore classified top secret. Under no circumstances is the general public or the public press to learn of the existence of these entities. The official government policy is that such creatures do not exist, and that no agency of the federal government is now engaged in any study of extraterrestrials or their artifacts. Any deviation from this stated policy is absolutely forbidden. Encounters. Encounters with EBEs may be classified according to one of the following categories. A. Encounters initiated by EBEs. Possible contact may take place as a result of overtures by the entities themselves. In these instances, it is anticipated that encounters will take place at military installations or other secure locations selected by mutual agreement. Such meetings would have the advantage of being limited to personnel with appropriate clearance away from the public scrutiny. Although it is not considered very probable, there also exists the possibility that EBEs may land in public places without prior notice. In this case, the OPNAC team will formulate cover stories for the press and prepare briefings for the president and the chief of staffs. B. Encounters as the result of the downed craft, contact with survivors of accidents or craft downed by natural events or military action may occur with little or no warning. In these cases, it is important that the initial contact be limited to military personnel to preserve security. Civilian witnesses in the area will be detained and debriefed by MJ-12. Contact with EBEs by military personnel not having MJ-12 or OPNAC clearance is to be strictly limited to action necessary to ensure the availability of the EBEs for study by the OPNAC team. EBE isolation and custody. EBEs will be detained by whatever means are necessary and removed from a secure location as soon as possible. Precautions will be taken by personnel coming in contact with the EBEs to minimize the risk of disease as a result of contamination by unknown organisms. If the entities are wearing space suits or breathing apparatus of some kind, care should be exercised to prevent damage to these devices. While all efforts should be taken to assure a well-being of the EBEs, they must be isolated from any contact with unauthorized personnel. While it is not clear that provisions or amenities might be required by non-human entities, they should be provided with, if possible. The officer in charge of the operation will make these determinations by no guidelines now exist to cover this area. Injured or wounded entities will be treated by medical personnel designated or assigned to the OPNAC team. If the team medical personnel are not immediately available, first aid will be administered by medical corps personnel at the initial site. Since little is known about the EBE biological functions, aid will be confined to the stopping of bleeding, bandaging of the wounds, and splinting of broken limbs. No medications of any kind are to be administered, as the effects of terrestrial medications on non-human biological systems are impossible to predict. As soon as the injuries are considered stabilized, the EBEs will be moved by closed ambulance or other suitable conveyance to a more secure location. In dealing with any living extraterrestrial biological entity, security is paramount importance. All other considerations are secondary. Although this is preferable to maintain the physical well-being of any entity, the loss of EBE life is considered acceptable if conditions or delays to preserve that life by any way compromises the security of the operations. Once the OPNAC team has taken custody of the EBEs, their care and transportation to designated facilities becomes a responsibility of OPNAC personnel. Every cooperation will be extended to the team in carrying out their duties. OPNAC team personnel will be given top priority at all blank, regardless of their apparent rank or status. No person has the authority to interfere with the OPNAC team in the performance of its duties by special direction of the President of the United States. Section 2, non-living organisms. The scope. Ideally, retrieval for scientific study of cadavers and other biological remains will be carried out by medical personnel familiar with this type of procedure. Because of security considerations, such collection may need to be done by non-medical personnel. This section will provide guidance for retrieval, preservation, and removal of cadavers and remains in the field. Retrieval and preservation. The degree of decomposition of organic remains will vary depending on the length of time the remains have been lying in the open, unprotected, and may be accelerated by both local weather conditions and actions by predators. Therefore, biological specimens will be removed from the crash site as quickly as possible to preserve the remains in as good a condition as possible. A photographic record will be made of all remains before they are removed from the site. Personnel involved in this type of operation will take all reasonable precautions to minimize physical contact with the cadavers or remains being retrieved. Surgical gloves should be worn, or if they are not available, wool or leather gloves may be worn, provided they are collected from decontamination immediately after use. Shovels and entrenching tools may be employed to handle remains Let me repeat that again. Shovels and entrenching tools may be employed to handle remains, provided caution is exercised to be certain no damage is done to the remains. Remains will be touched with bare hands only if no other means of moving them can be found. All personnel and equipment involved in recovery operations will undergo decontamination procedures immediately after those operations or have been completed. Remains will be preserved against further decomposition as equipment and conditions permit. Cadavers and remains will be bagged or securely wrapped in waterproof coverings. tarpaulins, or foul weather gear may be used for this purpose if necessary. Remains will be refrigerated or packed with ice if available. All remains will be tagged or labeled and the time and date recorded. Wrapped remains will be placed on stretchers or in sealed containers for immediate removal to a secure facility. Small detached pieces and materials scraped from solid surfaces will be in jars or other small capped containers if available. Containers will be clearly marked as to their contents and the time and date recorded. Containers will be refrigerated or packed with ice as soon as possible and removed to a secure facility. And then it gives you a picture or diagrams of the crafts. You have the flying saucer, there's different types. You can't really see it because it's blurry. The picture came out blurry. But you have the cigarette looking ones, the long pen looking ones. I can't read what they are. They have names under them. You have the triangle ones, which looks like the ones that we're making now. And you have oval ones. This says the diagrams are gathered from documented sightings to Air Force and Central Intelligence, something another of wreckages. So these are craft that I guess crashed or were shot down. Wreckage collected from various sources, years 1947 to 1953. Extraterrestrial crafts. Guide to UFO identification. You can barely read the first paragraph. Follow-up investigations, reports worthy of follow-up, and then I can't read all that. Let me move to the next one. Rules of thumb. Every UFOB case should be judged individually, but there are a number of rules of thumb under each of the following headings which should prove helpful in determining the necessity to follow up investigations. Duration of sighting. When the duration of sighting is less than 15 seconds, the probabilities are that it is not worthy of follow-up. As a something of caution, however, should a large number of individual observers blank on an unusual sighting of a few seconds duration, it should not be dismissed. Number of persons reporting the sighting. Short duration sightings by individuals, single individuals, are seldom worthy of follow-up. 2 or 3 competent independent observations carry the weight of 10 or more simultaneous individual observations. So as an example, 25 people at one spot may observe a strange light in the sky. This, however, has less weight than 2 liable people observing the same light from different locations. In the latter case, a position fix is indicated. Distance from location of sightings to the nearest field unit. Reports which meet the preliminary criterion stated above should all be investigated if their occurrences is in the immediate operating vicinity of the squadron concerned. 4 reports involving greater distances follow-up necessity might be judged as being inversely proportional to the square of the distances concerned. For example, an occurrence 150 miles away might be, and then you don't have that page, and then it gives you another page where it gets into regulations, publications. Let's see here. Modification orders, supply, technical bulletins, test equipment references, theory and use of electronic test equipment, photographic references, and that's it. So this manual obviously is missing pages. You can tell it's missing pages because they only have, like, they skip pages. They go from 20 to 21 and then skip to 28. So I haven't been able to find the full manual, but it's longer than this. So this is supposedly an alleged manual on what to do if you encounter extraterrestrial entities, beings, bodies, spacecraft, and how to dispose of it and how to, bag it and tag it. If anyone can find the full manual, I would really appreciate it. Send me an email with the full manual. All right, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. This is the Majestic-12 Group Special Operations Manual, SOM 101. You can find this, you have to look for it, but you can find it online. You just have to look for it. And you have to look for all the pages, which most of the stuff out there doesn't have all the pages to the manual. If you want to support monetarily, you can support at the links in the description: PayPal, Cash App, Patreon, Bitcoin. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. I'll be back tomorrow with some more interesting stuff. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.